Hi, everyone. I have to I have to put my hat back on today because the weather the temperature dropped a bit again. It's not too bad though, but when you have a short haircut, you can feel it. So I put my hat back on again today. So where do I begin with this one? I'm pretty sure I talked about this in the past to some extent. Um, but I'm gonna begin this by saying that, well, first of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Vinny, and our perception in terms of what we can see, our vision, specifically our vision, the electromagnetic color spectrum, so to speak, we can barely see any of it at all. We are extremely limited and handicapped when it comes down to that. Now, I don't think that that's by design. I think I touched on this a long time ago. I truly believe that, our DNA was tampered with at some point, and a lot of these things were done to us on purpose so we can't see certain things. And what am I talking about? The light spectrum, the electromagnetic color spectrum, the human eyes can only perceive about it's 0.00035% or some ridiculous number like that. You can go look it up. Go ask an AI on Google or something. You'll see what I'm talking about. We could barely see anything. I mean, we see enough to live our lives and function as humans, right? But the things that we can see are merely but a fraction of the whole picture. And this is why I'm bringing up this topic today of the other realms and other dimensions, that they are actually here right now as I speak. And just because we can't see them or hear them doesn't mean that they're not there and they're not real and they don't exist, because they do. So the way the universe operates and functions basically is it's all based upon mathematics, sound, frequencies, vibrations. That is all that there is. And all these things are tied to the electromagnetic spectrum, right? So animals are much better equipped when it comes down to that. And I think it has a lot to do with their nature and what they need for their own survival. Because, creation and God operates in an extremely wise manner when it comes down to these things. It equips, you know, animals and other living beings with the things that they need for their own survival, basically. So the reason why a lot of animals, and I've talked about this before as well, but a lot of animals, probably I would dare to say just about every other animal out there outside of the human species has way has a way better, view scope of this electromagnetic spectrum that goes way beyond what we can see as humans and the things that we can hear as well. Let's talk about, the hearing aspect of things as well. So animals can see a lot of stuff and hear a lot of stuff that we can't. And this is why sometimes you see animals doing weird things and freaking out and, and having weird, behavior. It's because they can see things that we can't, things that are there. Now, there are many people who talk about and who spoke about, the other dimensions and the other realms, and as to how many there are, I mean, that's up for debate because, people throw numbers out there like 9, 12, 13, sometimes even 19. And what I'm going to say is, well, until we find these things out for ourselves, by ourselves, we won't know the truth, right? Because in order for us to verify these things, the ideal way of doing it is we would have to, um, learn how to consciously astral project, um, and do an out of body experience so we can actually, go to these other dimensions and actually verify for ourselves how many more besides the 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 3D dimension, which is the one that we inhabit here with our physical bodies, exist. But if I was to take a guess, I would probably say it's related to our DNA strand, which is 12 or 13, something like that. But who knows? There might be more. You know, I wouldn't have the definitive answer on that because, I haven't developed myself spiritually well enough to be able to give you that answer. And anybody out there who is claiming that they have the answer, be very wary and discerning about that because there is a lot of people out here, especially on this platform, getting lots of views talking about all of these things like they know what they're talking about when all they're doing is regurgitating information that somebody else said somewhere else. It's easy to regurgitate information and to, repeat things that other people have said and other people have written in books, ancient scriptures and all these things. But until you experience the stuff yourself, you don't have the knowing that you need, ideally speaking. To know is to experience. True faith is to live something. Not have somebody tell you or not read it somewhere. It's actually for you to experience it yourself. That's what it means. So just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So there is a lot of mysteries about this world that we live in that we have yet to unfold and discover and learn about. These dimensions that exist, there are beings that inhabit them, that exist in them and live in them. And, until, like I said, until we develop the capability to do this investigation and research by ourselves, we're not really going to know the answer to any of these questions. We can we can debate and talk about it all we want, but without the knowledge, it's all hearsay. And I think it's extremely important that we understand through discernment and critical thinking that it's okay to have a certain belief system and follow certain ideas and concepts because we know they're real and they exist. But it's another thing to blindly believe things having zero experience about them. That's extremely important. So what we should be striving to do when it comes down to these things which are fascinating. I love to talk about this stuff because these things have always fascinated me since I was very, very young. Yes, other dimensions, other realms, they exist and they are here right now at the very same time, occupying the same space in a difference in a different frequency band. That's the easiest way to explain it. Think of it in terms of like a radio frequencies, right? You can change the station. They're gonna have different numbers because they're on a different frequency. Same thing. This is the way these dimensions operate. They're all here at the same time, occupying the same space. But because they exist and they operate under a different, let's say, frequency sound, they do not mingle. They are able to coexist at the same time and not interfere with one another. Now, there will be instances and places, specific locations on this planet where there are these like weird portals where strange phenomena occurs, right? Like think of places like, you know, the Dragon's Triangle in somewhere near Japan. That you have the Bermuda Triangle. You have these stories of people, walking through portals and traveling in time and coming back and telling their stories. There's all kinds of stuff, weird phenomena, things out like that out there that talk about these things and give us a glimpse into what these things are. But we won't really know and have an idea of the full picture until some serious dedicated research is put into these things, and these things cannot be researched fully with just pure science alone. Science is just a part of it, a very small part of it. The real science of these things, of how to explain and experience these things, is purely esoteric and spiritual in nature. And that's a fact. Undeniable. Irrefutable. And you are free to disagree with that. But that won't change the fact. You're gonna listen to me talk about these things a lot, because I like to talk about facts. And when it comes down to the spirit and the occult esoteric aspects of things, we can't we can't know things until we learn about them truly in the spirit, and then we experience them fully. And that's the other thing, be very wary of people out there that claiming that they out of body experience masters, OBE, all this stuff. And because these people, just be wary of it. That's all I'm going to say. The reason why I say these things is because I've had my own experiences personally, and I know that a lot of the stuff that these people are talking about should be taken with many grains of salt. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? I know we tend to identify with things sometimes when they resonate with us, with how we feel and think about certain things in life, but never blindly follow something or someone just because the idea and the things that they talk about resonates with you. And that goes for everything. And that includes what I say here and myself, you know. I always encourage people to go out there and do their own research and experience things themselves and learn about these things themselves by going within, meditating, experiencing their own silence and stillness so that you can develop these things yourself and experience them fully as they are and as they exist. And that is all. So, whether you believe it or not, other realms and dimensions are real and they exist. And that's all I'm going to talk about. That's really all I wanted to say today. These things are real, they exist. They've always been here. They're not going anywhere. And we won't ever fully understand them until we actually understand ourselves in a very deep manner and fully develop ourselves to our utmost capabilities when it comes down to esoteric and spiritual things that pertains to ourselves and our own development as human beings and spiritual beings on this realm. And that is the topic for today. So if you enjoyed the talk, if you liked it, if you like the channel, don't forget to hit a like, share, subscribe. It helps the channel grow and reach more people. And I will catch you all on the next one. Take care, be safe. And if you're in a cold place like I am, stay warm. I will see you on the next one, my friends. Till next time.